Well, folks, we are at the end. This is the end of Power Rangers month. And the final games that I'm going to talk about is Power Rangers SPD for the Game Boy Advance. And I'll briefly talk about Power Rangers Samurai on the DS. So Power Rangers SPD on the Game Boy Advance. This would be Natsume's final game that they ever made, which is really sad. It's also the last Power Rangers game that THQ published. Eventually, Bandai Namco would do the rest of the Power Rangers games. So, how does Natsume go out? Do they go out with a bang? Do they go out in a whimper? Well, they go out pretty decently. So, Power Rangers SPD. You play as the 5 Rangers in SPD, no surprise, and you go through a lot of levels beating enemies up. Now, here's something different. Unlike Dino Thunder, where there were just cutscenes, the cutscenes are now broken into episodes. There are 8 episodes, and a lot of the episodes are pretty damn long. So, unfortunately, that one issue that Dino Thunder has kind of carries in SPD, meaning that this is a very long game. In fact, this is the longest Power Rangers game on the Game Boy Advance. However, though, there is some good news that the levels don't feel as monotonous as they were in Dino Thunder, and plus, the Megazord battles are much shorter. But we'll get to all of that in just a minute. When you begin the game, you notice you're the Blue Ranger, and unfortunately, yes, just like Dino Thunder, you cannot play as other Rangers. You have to play them in order in every level. So, for example, if you're the Red Ranger in this level, you gotta be the Red Ranger. If you're playing as the Yellow Ranger in this level, you gotta play as the Yellow Ranger, etc., etc. However, the good news is that unlike Dino Thunder, there are way more levels. So although that the levels are long, they're broken into parts. So that's good. So for example, you play as a Blue Ranger, then the next session you play as a Red Ranger, and then the next session, the Pink Ranger or Green Ranger, etc., etc. So they at least broke the monotonous that played Dino Thunder. Another good thing about this game is there are mini games, and they're really fun this time around. There's one that's kind of similar to Space Invaders, where you have to protect the city from evil bad guys. And then there's this really awesome racing level that takes place before you get in your Megazord battle, which is really, really nice. Now let's talk about the Rangers. The Rangers have unique abilities. For example, the Red Ranger can go through walls and enemies. The Blue Ranger can create a force field to block attacks. The Green Ranger can track hidden objects or missing objects in his missions. The Yellow Ranger can create 3 duplicates of herself and improve her attack, which is really awesome. And the Pink Ranger can be really strong to destroy titanium walls. Now it's time to get to some of the negatives. For one, the Megazord battles. What is going on with this hit detection? I'm clearly hitting this enemy, and for some odd reason, it's not going through. Thankfully, the fights are pretty easy, but it's still weird. Why are the Megazord battles really iffy this time around? And what is with them in odd-numbered Power Ranger games when it comes to Game Boy Advance that have not-so-good Megazord battles? Another thing I have to mention is graphically this game looks pretty weak this time around. The Rangers look fine, but the backgrounds are just dull at times. It's just bleh. And lastly, the bosses are really, really easy this time around. So I guess they found that Dino Thunder a little too hard for kiddies, so they actually made the game very, very easy. Now there is one thing I forgot to mention, and it's a major positive. The music in this game is way better than what it was in Dino Thunder. There's some really good tunes in this game. I absolutely love the Blue Ranger theme. It's so good. But the problem is, get ready to listen to these themes again and again and again, because there's no original music when it comes to entering different levels. When you're the Red Ranger, it plays the Red Ranger theme. If you're the Yellow Ranger, it plays the Yellow Ranger theme. Again and again and again. So that flaw that kind of was in Dino Thunder is still present in SPD, but it's nowhere near as bad as Dino Thunder. And lastly, I now need to talk about the final boss, because they actually decided to do something different. After the final Megazord battle, the game does not end. Instead, Anubis turns into the Shadow Ranger and faces General Benag, one of Grum's most powerful warriors. And this final episode is downright awesome. You fight so many enemies, but Anubis is so goddamn powerful, he just obliterates them in one hit. It's so damn cool. Unfortunately, Benag is really, really easy and he goes down. And that's it. The game just abruptly ends saying that Grum is still out there. Credits roll. What the hell? So yeah, cliffhanger ending aside and a few other issues, SPD is way better than Dino Thunder. They took some of the good aspects of Dino Thunder and made it a lot better. Yes, this game is still pretty damn long, but at least not only their passwords, the levels don't feel as redundant as they were in Dino Thunder. The music is way better, and that's a good thing, and it's really fun to be the Power Rangers once again. And also, the last section is downright fantastic to end the game. So, this was Natsume's final Power Rangers game, and I think they did a good job. I would say SPD is probably the second best Power Rangers game on the GBA. But now, let me quickly talk about Power Rangers Samurai. Unfortunately, I don't have recording software to record footage of the DS, so I'm going to have to use my camera. Bear with me, it's going to be a really quick review. So anyway, Power Rangers Samurai came out in late 2011 on the DS, so this is a really late Nintendo DS game. It was made by Bandai Namco, or more specifically Bandai. You play as the Power Ranger Samurais, and just like all the other Power Ranger games, they have different abilities. For example, the Ranger can shoot fire through walls, and you also have to make sure you switch out Power Rangers because if you want some collectibles, you're gonna have to switch out Power Rangers throughout the level to at least 100% it. You don't have to do it, but it's just optional. Another thing is, it's really easy. It's a very easy game, so you could beat this really fast. There's only 10 missions, and it's about 2 hours long. In fact, I don't know what's longer, this game or Power Rangers SPD. I really don't know. The real difference with this game and all the other Power Ranger games are the Megazord battles. And what in the hell is this? I have to use the stylus to spin a wheel, and I have to make sure I hit the touch screen at the right time to boost my attack, so that way I could do a lot of damage. Why they did this, I have no idea. It's like they got inspired with Ninja Storm's Megazord battles, but somehow made them even more awkward than what they were on Ninja Storm. That being said, it's a pretty decent game. It is very easy, but it gets the job done for the most part. I got it for $3, and I'm happy about it. Also, the music's pretty good. So yeah, that's the end of Power Rangers month, folks. It's been a long journey. It took me 2 months to review damn near every Power Rangers game that I have in my collection, as well as some that I recently finished. So I hope you guys enjoyed this project, and I'll see you guys next time. Long live Power Rangers, folks. Take it easy.